I think long term it's going to have a very good effect for women, but I think now during the pandemic, it's much harder on women. At the beginning, everybody thought it was cute when kids and pets and things were in the background of a Zoom. But now that we're going on longer and longer, there's less of an appetite for having a life behind you when you're on Zoom and you have to keep everybody quiet in the background. And unfortunately, women are often the ones responsible for the homeschooling and for the bulk of childcare or caring for elderly relatives or whatever kind of family is in the background. I do think though that going forward, this might be a net gain for women.
Are you seeing your firms be more amenable to that sort of thing? Or are you hearing them say, what some of my clients are saying, we're going to go back to normal as soon as possible. I want everyone in the office vaccinated. I'm seeing both, and it worries me because I don't think we're ever going to be, back to normal. But I am seeing some firms say, when everyone back in the office, I want to go back to the way things were. What are you seeing? Or do you think firms will be more flexible?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to be. I think we're going to risk not recruiting the best talent and not retaining the best talent if we don't learn from the lesson, if we don't take these lessons from COVID and apply them to the future. We will absolutely need more flexibility. And it's not just things like flexibility, working from home a few days. It's different start times and end times and, different resources that you need. Mm-hmm. So our eyes have been opened to that. And yes, you have to balance that with the fear. We hear from management, all the time that we don't want this erosion of our culture. And that a lot of the reasons why we have been successful is because we've been working remotely, but we had that foundation. We built the relationships before, and now we're just, kind of feeding off of those. But as we hire more people and more time goes by, we don't want to be a completely remote firm. I think most firms, feel like that. We're not interested in virtual. We want that collaboration, back, and, we want some of the organic benefits that we talked about before, but it's never going to look the same. I don't see it being the same. The flexibility and, these differing schedules are here to stay.
Have you had to talk your firm into that, or do you feel like leadership is open to it?
I think they're cautious. They want to be open to it, but sometimes they just don't know what they're concerned. So I wouldn't say that I've had to talk leadership into it, but I need to let them know what that looks like. Yeah. Because they like it, the idea of it, but still not comfortable, seeing how it's going to play out.
Well, it's like Alexa said, it's a 100-year-old institution, and it's always right. been done the way that it's been done. I mean, how many times have you guys heard that, that saying, right? So this is a watershed year. Jill and Alexis, what do you guys think? Do you think these changes will be permanent at your firm?
I think the firm's being really mindful about it. They know that there is a shift and that they're going, to have to find a way to make it work, and actually have created a task force from employees all across the firm to weigh in on what a flexible and remote work policy might look like, and going to release something well ahead of when our target return to the office is, so that people have time to prepare. So that's very encouraging. And I agree with Jennifer that this could be a net gain for women. But I think really for that to happen, there has to be kind of this cultural shift where working remotely applies kind of across the board, and men are just as encouraged to work remotely as women. So it doesn't become something where it's another way to, be different. And then I think we could be in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what Danny said. It's interesting though, because with the attorneys, a lot of attorneys have been working remotely for a long. I mean, depending on your firm, maybe some firms demand more FaceTime, and this was certainly a shock to them. For a lot of firms, this was so hard because we moved all of our business services professionals remote, and that was a major challenge. But I do think most firms fall into like, yeah, we're gonna have to be more flexible, but we do want to see you sometimes. And certainly people are concerned, particularly senior leadership, who remember they got their biggest case because they ran into someone in the hallway. And if we're not going to run into each other in the hallway, how will anybody get their cases? I mean, or matters or whatever you're working on. And so there's a lot of that too, but we're just going to have to innovate and to figure it out.